right, hello everyone. It's Casey Harmon once again. We're continuing our Career Smart Soft Skills training, and this time we're going to be talking about setting goals and identifying skills. Previously, we talked about attitude. Then that attitude is going to set the foundation. Then you build on top of that with your self-esteem. Your self-esteem is tied directly into your goals. All right. And so we're going to talk about first goals, and then we're going to talk about how to identify your skills. If you haven't had a lot of work experience, or even if you have, we're going to dig in a little bit deeper and see how we can identify what we call transferable skills for you to be able to relate to a potential employer. So let's go ahead and get the show on the road. So you probably recognize this man. He is one of the most recognizable movie stars in the world right now, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Just Dwayne Johnson now. He was The Rock back when he was a wrestler. And he said, in 1995, I had $7 in my pocket, and I knew two things. Number one, I'm broke. Number two, one day I won't be. A lot of people don't know that after, I say a lot of people don't know, you may not know, that after he finished college at the University of Miami, he decided that he was going to try and play football in Canada in the CFL. When he went up to the CFL, basically he was almost destitute. He's wrote in his book that even to have a mattress to sleep on, he got an old, dirty, fairly disgusting mattress out of a dumpster, and that's what he slept on. But the one thing, if you've ever listened to Dwayne Johnson talk, he always talks about goals. He always talks about getting up and attacking the day. And he knew it's no surprise that he made it to where he is today, because he's definitely someone who sets goals and attacks them. But yeah, he's $7 in his pocket, and he's look at what he became. So no matter where you are, no matter what your situation is, if you've got the mindset and you've got the determination, you've got the attitude, you've got the self-esteem, and you've got the ability to set good goals, you too can achieve, who knows what, a lot. And I believe in you, and I told you that in the last session, and I still do. So let's get into the specifics of goal setting. Okay, we'll skip this video because we want to talk about the three components of goals. All right. So when you hear a goal, the word goal, I want you to think of it in three separate components. The first is the what. That's the goal itself, which provides purpose. You have the why, the set of benefits to be gained, which provide fuel to reach our goals. And then finally, you have the how, the strategy, the map that provides the direction and measures for the achievement. So for instance, excuse me, the what, let's say I want to become a commercial vehicle operator. Why? Because it is a stable job. It is an in-demand job that pays really well. And how? How will I do it? Well, first I'm going to go to school. First I'm going to get my learner's permit. Then I'm going to go to school and for 6 to 8 weeks and learn how to operate the vehicles. Then I will get my certificate and get my CDL Class A license. And then I will begin looking for work. So the what, why, and how, and any goal, whether it's personal, whether it's financial, whether it's relationships, whatever it is, it can all be broken down into these three components: the what, the why, and the how. So some examples of goals can be broken down into three basic areas. Where again, we're doing threes. So goals can be broken down into personal, and that's going to be health, intellectual pursuits, creative pursuits, spiritual goals, family goals. It can be broken down into career, which would be getting a job, making your resume, turning your hobby into your profession, getting a promotion, whatever, aiming to become a manager, setting a goal on doubling your sales, balance work with things going on in your personal life, aiming for a raise. These are all career goals, and there could be a number of career goals. These are just some examples. It can be educational. Get your high set, enroll in technical college, learn a new trade or skill, okay? So those are the goals can be broken down into the 3 basic areas. Now, let's talk about timelines. So timelines can actually also be broken down into 3 areas. All right, you have short term, and that's going to be goals you'd like to achieve in less than a year. Now, the thing with short-term goals is that they can be done in sequence or simultaneously with other short-term goals that are going to eventually lead to completion of a long-range goal. So you can get your high set while you're studying for your learner's permit to prepare you to go to prepare yourself to go to college. You can like I said, if you have a big goal that requires several steps, you can perform those short-term goals either at the same time or one right after another. So then there are also midterm goals. These are goals you'd like to achieve in 1 to 3 years. So this is basically a stepping stone that's going to help you achieve that long-term goal that we're going to talk about in a second. So a midterm goal is generally going to be something like, I would like to begin a stable career. And again, we'll use the CDL driver. So I'd like to begin a stable career. And over the 1 to 3 years, I would like to get enough road time, get enough experience, get enough miles under me to be able to achieve my long-term goal, which is going to be not working long haul across the country, to be able to get a nice, stable, even higher paying job driving locally. So the long-term goal is a goal that you'd like to achieve that's going to take longer than 3 years, okay? So the who, what, we'll review real quick. Let's see. So the what, the why, the how are the components. Personal, career, and educational are going to be the examples. And short-term, mid-term, and long-term are going to be your timelines. So now that we have all the groupings, and now that we understand how to break our goals down, let's talk about the criteria for creating goals. And what we want to create are SMART goals. So SMART is an acronym, S-M-A-R-T. Each letter stands for a word. So what are SMART goals? Well, SMART goals are goals that are specific, goals that are measurable, goals that are attainable, goals that are relevant, and goals that are time-based. S-M-A-R-T. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So you might be saying to yourself, well, Casey, how do I create SMART goals? Well, I'm going to tell you. So let's start with creating a specific goal. They need to be something specific. So a specific goal has a much greater chance of being accomplished. If I say, oh, I want to lose some weight, that's a goal. But if I say, I want to lose 25 pounds, well, that's specific. And you can actually even break it down into more specific, all right? So questions to ask yourself when you are setting up a specific goal. Who is involved? What do you want to accomplish? Where will you do this? When will you do this? Which things will I need to make this happen? And why am I going to do this? So who? So let's just say we'll take that goal of losing 25 pounds. So who is involved? Me. What do I want to accomplish? I want to lose 25 pounds. Where am I going to do this? In my home with my eating habits, and also at the gym by exercising. When? I'd like to have these 25 pounds lost within the next 3 months. What will I need? Well, I will need, to shop for better food, more healthy, nutritious food. I'll need to make better choices. I will need to go and pay for a gym membership, and I will need to regularly go to the gym. And why? Well, because I want to look better, even though, like we talked about in self-esteem, the way you look is just part of who you are. But if it's something you want to change in yourself, then that's fine. Maybe I'll get a little bit healthier. I can run and play with my dog more, for whatever reason, right? So you really break those things down. I mean, we're attacking them on almost like a subatomic level with these goals. We're really getting what they call granular, where we're going down to the essence of what these goals are all about. So once you have this established, once you have the specific goal in mind, and whatever your goal is, I want you to label it out just like this. Who is involved? What do you want to accomplish? Identify a location, establish a time frame, identify requirements and constraints, and why do you want to do it? When you set your goal, write this down: the who, what, where, when, which, and why. When you get it written down, tape it to your wall. Write multiple copies. Tape it all over the place. That way, anywhere you walk in your house, you can see that specific goal. All right? But a goal shouldn't just be specific. It also needs to be measurable. Goals need to be measurable. You need to establish concrete criteria for measuring progress toward the attainment of each goal you set. So if you're going to determine your goal is measurable, you need to ask your questions like, when will I complete it? How much? How many? How will I know when it is accomplished? So if we take the weight loss goal, well, that's definitely measurable. Concrete criteria. I will know when I've lost 25 pounds because I will I'll weigh myself. So the concrete criteria is I will lose 25 pounds. Determine if the goal is measurable. Yes, it is measurable by weighing myself. And then ask questions. Well, how will I know when it is accomplished? Well, it's going to be accomplished when I reach my goal, when I reach that 25 pounds. Okay. Goals also need, in addition to being specific, in addition to being measurable, they also need to be attainable. Okay, they need to be reasonable and achievable. So don't set yourself up for failure by setting goals that are out of reach. So for instance, if I said, I want to be a Navy fighter plane pilot. Well, the first thing, that's not attainable. I am too tall to fit into the cockpits of the Navy planes. So that's not an attainable goal. Now, if I keep that as a goal, I'm never going to reach it because it's just physically not possible. If we go back to the weight loss, say I want to lose 100 pounds in a month. Okay, that's not attainable. That's, well, it might be, but you don't want to do it that way. It's would put your health at risk. Not really an attainable goal. Like that carrot on the stick, you want to be able to keep yourself motivated. And if you set a goal that is not attainable, then it's going to be easier for you to just give up. Okay? So any goal that is attainable also is going to be realistic. Realistically, sit down and ask yourself, do you have the ability and the commitment to make this dream come true? Because it's not just enough to have a dream. It's enough to be able to to have to work at it. And let's take a look at Dwayne Johnson, like we talked about before. His Canadian football career did not really come to fruition. For various reasons, it didn't work out. So he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my family connections, and I'm going to go become a professional wrestler. But people that didn't really follow wrestling at the time, when he first started, nobody liked him. Like he just wasn't a compelling character on screen. But he's changed his presentation. He changed the way that he addressed people. He changed his look, and he started working to make that dream come true. So, he had the ability and he had the commitment. He just needed to adjust it a little bit. And he needed to say, okay, well, this is the commitment that I'm going to have to make in order to eventually become this mega, mega, mega superstar. So what you want to do we can go back to the weight loss goal. You want to start slowly by selecting a small goal. So let's say I want to lose, we can say, you know what? I want to get up and go to the gym in the morning before I go to work, and I want to do that 4 times a week. So set that small goal. Stick with that and see how it goes. Then think about setting another goal. Okay, well, now that I'm going to the gym 4 times a week, I want to ride at least a mile every day on the bikes, or walk a mile on the treadmill. So you sort of get used to that. And these small goals help you, they basically become permanent lifestyle changes. So when you set these goals, make sure that they are conducive to your life. Make sure that they make sense for who you are. And if they don't make sense, if they seem out of reach, then look and adjust them and see what you need to do in order to make it happen. Okay, you can accomplish anything you put your mind to, but you need to have those realistic goals. So you start by selecting a smaller goal and you work your way up. And then the final component, goals need to be time-based. They need to have a time frame. Why? They need to be grounded. Why? Because no time frame is no sense of urgency. If I say I want to lose 25 pounds, whenever, I'm not going to be motivated. But if I set my time limit, okay, in 3 months, I will have lost 25 pounds, then that's going to have more success, especially when I combine it with the other goals. And you can do this with anything, okay? Don't just say you want to be a CDL driver. So you want to be a CDL driver by August 1st, 2021. Whatever that may be. Give yourself that reasonable time frame. But don't leave a goal open-ended, okay? Make sure they're specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. All right? So, what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about skill identification. But before we do that, I have an exercise for you. This exercise is called Consider the Penny. Now, I'm going to give you 1 minute. And in this next minute, I want you to look at this penny, and I want you to tell me, and I want you to notice everything that you can notice about this penny in 1 minute. And your time starts now. It's going to be quiet, but I'm still here, listening, waiting for you to notice what you see about this penny. All right. Now, what did you notice about that penny? Let's talk about it. First of all, let's start with Abe Lincoln. So you can see that he's faced to the right. You can see that he has curly hair. You can see he has a rumpled suit. He's possibly wearing a bow tie. He's got a beard. He's got a serious expression on his face. He's got really high cheekbones. You can see that he's kind of got a big ear. You can see also on the front of this penny, it says, "In God We Trust," in capital letters. You can see the word liberty in 1974. You see that's a very shiny penny, that, it's very bright. If you look on the back side, you can see that it says United States of America, 1 cent. You can see that the O, for some reason, in of is lowercase when everything else is uppercase. You can see E pluribus unum, which is from many one. It's there above the Lincoln Memorial. Looking at the Lincoln Memorial, you can see the engravings along the top. You can see what looks like maybe some flowers or a garden of some type on either side of the stairs. You can see the stairs clearly. You can see the pedestals on either side of the stairs. You can see the columns of the Lincoln Memorial. You can actually see Abraham Lincoln himself in the middle column. That's the big chair that he's sitting in the memorial. So, if you look at and just other pennies, if you look at them on the side, they're smooth as opposed to rigid, or ridged, I should say. I'm sorry. So, what is the point of this? Okay. So the point of this is that this is a coin that is not worth very much. This is a coin that actually costs more to make than it does than its actual value. It's not a very significant thing. So if one penny can contain all of these different multitudes, all these different pieces of minutia that we can notice, if we can identify this many things about a penny, what can we identify about you as a human being who's worth way more than a penny? Way, way more. Way more. And how can we communicate what we know about you to an employer? So this process is called, it's the 4 steps of finding transferable skills. So what we're going to do is we're going to identify the skills that you have. We're going to identify the skills employers are seeking. We're going to learn how to communicate the skills you have. And then we're going to talk about continuing to develop your skills. So how do you identify the skills that you have? So let's say you've never worked. You've never had a job that pays a paycheck, and that, you've done some work in the neighborhood. Maybe you've mowed grass. Maybe you've mowed yards. So you have those skills. You have experience running a lawnmower. You have experience doing landscaping. Okay, those are obvious. But what are some not so obvious skills? Well, you have customer service skills. You had to go out and get those customers. You had to make sure the customers were happy. So you have customer service skills. What do you have? You have salesmanship skills. You had to sell your services to those people who are in your neighborhood. What else do you have? You have the ability to you have the ability to function in multiple types of weather, especially here in Louisiana, mostly hot. You have problem-solving skills. If a customer has a problem with your work, then you have the way to go back and problem solve it and fix it. You have tons of skills. What if you've never done that? What if you've just volunteered? Maybe you volunteered at your church. Well, what were you doing? Were you passing out food? there you have compassionate. You're compassionate. You have a heart for service, where cleaning up roadways. Well, you have appreciation for the environment and the ability to work hard and socially conscious and environmentally conscious. So these are all different skills that can help you get ahead. These are not job skills, is what I'm saying. They're not something necessarily that you learned from a job. They are skills that you've learned in your life. Just living your life and being a human on the planet Earth. Okay? So really sit down and think look at the jobs that you've had, or look at even not necessarily the jobs, look at the experience that you have. Maybe you only babysat, but hey, if you babysat, you have childcare experience, you have time management skills, you have, you're trustworthy. People are trusting you with their kids. These are all skills that employers could be looking for. Okay, so sit down and really make a list of all of the things about you that would be attractive to an employer. Okay. But what kind of skills are employers looking for? Well, there's 17 foundation skills, and they're grouped into 4 clusters. So the 4 clusters are basic skills, thinking skills, people skills, and personal qualities. Okay? So let's dive deep into each of these and talk about the skills that employers are looking for. So with our basic skills, that's going to include reading, writing, math, speaking, and listening. Okay? In your workplace, just in life, okay, you need to be able to read, and you need to be able to read relatively well. Especially now as everything is moving online, everything is computerized. If you can't read, you're going to have an even harder time navigating the world than you would have, say, 20 years ago. Some people don't want to go get help because they're embarrassed that they can't read, but there's organizations out there who can help you. There's organizations out there who realize that adult illiteracy is a problem. And it's okay. It's okay if you need help. But that needs to be a skill that you have, okay? Just to function. In the same way, writing as well. Do you have to be eloquent and, know a bunch of big words? Not necessarily, but you need to be able to communicate your thoughts, information, messages. You need to be able to record information accurately. You need to be able to write, and reading and writing is the same thing. As far as, some people are embarrassed because they can't write well. That's okay. There's places to go that can help you with that. Math. Math is important. Maybe not necessarily, you won't be doing math as your job, but being able to have a fundamental knowledge of math, at least through, high school level is important. But you might say, Casey, well, I'm going to be a truck driver. Why do I need algebra? You may not ever have to do an algebra problem, but algebra teaches you to solve not just algebra problems, but it deepens your thinking. It deepens your understanding of and raises your problem solving skills. Okay. Again, math. It's another subject. Most people aren't as embarrassed to say that they're not great at math as they are about reading and writing, because I think everybody at some point struggles with math. But again, if you have problems with math, there's places you can go. Next one would be speaking. Do you need to be able to be a dynamic public speaker? Not necessarily. Do you need to be able to speak for a living? No. Do you need to be able to organize your ideas and communicate them to people? Yes. Do you need to be able to understand tone of voice, gestures, level of complexity? I used to do an anti-bullying program through an organization here, and we had 2 levels. We had one for high school and junior high, and we had one for basically from about 3rd grade on up, and then we had one for basically kindergarten through 2nd grade. Now, for the kindergarten through 2nd grade, we read a book called Hands Are Not for Hitting. If I had taken Hands Are Not for Hitting to a group of seniors, that wouldn't have gone over very well. But likewise, if I'd taken the material from the seniors and brought it down to the kindergartners, that wouldn't have worked either. So you need to be able to know the audience who you're speaking to. Okay, you also need to learn how to speak clearly and ask questions when needed. And a very, very important, often overlooked skill is listening. Okay, there's 2 types of listening. There's passive listening and there's active listening. Okay, passive listening is what you do on the last day before some Christmas vacation. It's the last class of the day with 10 minutes left and the teacher is still trying to teach. You're not really paying attention. Those words are just kind of bouncing off of you, okay? That's passive listening. You need to be engaged in active listening. Active listening means you're not just waiting for your turn to talk, okay? You are thinking about what the person is saying. You are formulating ideas in your head, and you are preparing what you're going to say afterwards, okay? So that's active listening. So those are the basic skills. All very important. All very foundational. Get as many of those skills in as you can. Because much like we're building, we started with the attitude as a foundation, then we went up to self-esteem, now we're talking about goals and skills. If you have that foundation of good reading, writing, math, speaking, and listening skills, these other skills that we're going to talk about are going to come a little bit easier. The next category is thinking skills. All right? We have creative thinking, being able to use your imagination and combining ideas and information in new ways. Seeing ideas that are unrelated and making a connection. Okay, the world needs creative thinkers. They're the ones that invent stuff. Problem-solving skills. Being able to look at an issue, look at a plan, look at information, and determine if there's going to be any problems. Recognize the problems ahead of time and think of a problem to solve them, or think of a solution to solve them. Likewise, if a plan goes off and the plan was flawed and the plan didn't work out, then someone with problem-solving skills is going to look at that and go, okay, here's what we can do better. And then they're going to monitor that solution and see how it works. See if their solution that they came up with is working. And we have decision-making skills. Oh, I made it disappear. So with decision-making skills, this can be tough. A lot of people don't want to make decisions because if you are a decision maker, what goes well will be attributed to you, but also things that are going poorly will also be distributed to you, are attributed to you. And some people don't like that. Some people may have the lowest self-esteem that we had talked about in the last lesson, and they don't want to accept responsibility for bad decisions. But someone with decision-making skills is going to identify the goal desired. They're going to generate multiple plans for reaching the goal. Maybe you have a couple of different ways to go about doing it. You're going to gather information about the alternatives. Maybe talk to an expert. Maybe read some books about the situation. Look at all the alternatives. You're going to weigh the pros and cons, gains, losses to yourself and others. Do you think other people are going to approve or disapprove this? Then you have to make the best choice and then plan to how you're going to carry out that choice and what you're going to do if negative consequences occur. The workplace needs decision makers, and it's a big mantle to take upon yourself, but it's worth it in the long run. Remember, if you make a mistake, you don't beat yourself up. Learn from it. Visualization. Being able to see a building or an object by looking at a blueprint drawing or a sketch. You see a a blueprint on a table, and you can be able to visualize in your mind what that building is going to look like when you're done. Looking at a schematic of say the way an assembly line might work, and understanding how that works just by looking at the sketch, okay, or the schematics, the visualization. So those are the thinking skills. Figure out which ones you're good at, and practice. Figure out the ones you're not so good at, and practice those more. Get those thinking skills up. The next is going to be people skills. Okay? You have social skills. You have the ability to show understanding, friendliness, and respect for the feelings of others. This is called empathy. This is understanding that other people have feelings, and other people have emotions, and other people are going to react to things differently than you, and being able to understand that. But also social skills means you're able to assert yourself appropriately and stand up for yourself in a firm way. If you truly believe that something is right, then being able to stand up for yourself and communicate those ideas. Another aspect of social skills is taking an interest in people and what they say and why they think and act as they do. Look, you're going to be spending a lot of time at work. We spend, if you got 40 hours a week, that's 160 hours a month at work. And that's just if you're working 40 hours. That's a lot of time to spend with people. You need to get to know them. You need to get to know who they are and why they are and how they make decisions and why they make decisions, and be able to really understand that so that you can interact better with them. Negotiation is a people skill. You need to look at what people want in different parties. We could use a lot of this in politics. We need somebody to be able to look at the different parties that are in conflict. We need to identify their common goals. What do they want? And then we need to understand and identify the ways that they depend on each other. Okay? With negotiation, you're going to clearly present the facts and arguments of your own position. If you believe X and I believe Y, but you come out and you clearly present the facts and arguments of X, well, then I'm going to be more likely to respect you and consider changing my opinion. But likewise, you need to be able to listen and understand my position. And then you need to be able to get together and propose possible outcomes for resolving the conflict, with each side making reasonable compromises. I think a lot of times now, we don't want to compromise. We just want what we want, and that's it. And that's just not the way it works sometimes. Okay? How are you at social skills? How are you in negotiation? Are you a good leader? Okay? Being a leader, that's probably going to be the person that was making the decisions. When you are a leader, you need to communicate your thoughts and feelings to justify why you're doing what you're doing. But not only that, you need to bring people over to your side. You need to be almost a salesman, encourage and persuading and convincing other people to join you and join your group. You need to exhibit that integrity I was talking about earlier. You have that integrity, people are going to believe in you, and they're going to trust you because you're competent and because you're honest. Okay? Are you a good leader? Some people aren't good leaders, and that's okay, because there's a place in the workforce for people who are great at doing, and not that leaders don't do, but great for following a plan and executing a plan. You don't always have to be a great leader, but you need to have knowledge of these leadership skills. so that you can execute a leadership role if you're called upon to do so. Teamwork is a people skill. We're going to have a whole section on teamwork, a whole other video component on teamwork. But you need to be able to work with other people. You need to be able to do your share of the work without leaving it on somebody else's shoulders. You need to listen to your teammates, support them. If they're having trouble getting their stuff done, look, go talk to them, see what you can do to help. If they're interested, offer up some tips for support and for success. If there's any differences that come up, rely on those negotiation skills and resolve differences for the team. All of these skills are sort of built on one another, and there's little pieces of each one in each of the skills. And then finally, for people skills, it's going to be cultural diversity. Being able to work with people that are different than you, whether it's gender, sexual orientation, ethnicity, religion, whatever it is, age. You need to have cultural diversity, and you need to understand how and why people are different. You need to understand that just because someone is different from you does not make it a problem, but you do need to understand that different cultures, different ages, different people all have different cultures, and different gender groups, different ethnic groups are going to have different concerns. And you have to be able to understand the concerns of the people that you're working with, regardless of where they come from. Okay? So, and be able to navigate those and maybe help them communicate those to other people. So what are you good at here? Are you a social person? Are you a negotiator? Are you a good leader? Do you value teamwork and know how to operate in a team? Are you great at bridging the divides in different cultures? What are you good at? And finally, personal qualities. Self-esteem. We talked about that earlier. You're going to be much more attractive, much more fun to work with, and much more likely to have success in the workplace if you have good self-esteem. Self-management. The ability to work without a boss standing over you. The ability to get your work done and on time without having to be told. The ability to be reliable. This is an excellent quality. Most managers don't like to micromanage. Most managers don't like to have to stand over their workers and their teammates and team members and try to get them to get stuff done. Okay, you need to have self-management. Responsibility. Responsibility and self-management go hand in hand. Basically, it's just working hard to become excellent at your job. You pay attention to details and you concentrate at doing tasks well, even when it's a job that you don't want. When you get to work, and if you have a way to prioritize tasks, prioritize the stuff that you like the least first. Get that out of the way. Because if you don't, you're going to procrastinate. You may take longer doing the jobs that you like, and then the stuff that you don't like ends up piling up and you don't get it done. Okay? Write out your schedule for the day, write out what you're going to do when, and it's going to help you prioritize those tasks. Okay? And just remember, real change, enduring change happens one step at a time. Okay? And that is it for goals and skills. We won't worry about the video at the beginning. It basically is just a precursor to everything that I just said. So once again, when I upload this video, I will in the description, I will include the link and the access code to the quiz, and you'll take the quiz and you will be good to go for the next part of the class. So after this is going to be the next part 4, is going to be how to create a resume in the Louisiana Works website. It's going to talk about some general resume skills, and it's going to talk about how to specifically go in and create a resume in the Louisiana Works website. So I will see you all again